Welcome to Season 3, Episode 9 of The Man Who Woke Up the Buddha. The title is God Said to Abraham, Part 2. Previously, Sid went to the library where he explored the ins and outs, when, where, how, and whys of animal sacrifice. Sid was looking for a match in Di's bag, a wholly inadequate term for a large basket woven from the slats of wood of a tree that was probably more endangered than Sid. It was the color of verdigris copper, with leather straps. She discovered it in a stall on the Mercado in Cancun, and had never seen anything quite like it, before or since, nor had anyone else. Much like the universe itself, Di's bag was infinitely expanding. Mary Poppins was a tiny purse by comparison. You never knew what you'd find on top. Usually it was a Kindle Mini in a silver case that Sid had given her on her 65th birthday with Di engraved in real gold leaf. Shoved around the tablet was a collection of small bags of various sizes, shapes, and materials that held an ever-changing assortment of gum, breath fresheners, protein bars, toothpicks, a deck of Uno cards, a little blank book, and a collection of pens, lipstick, cheap hand cream from expensive hotels, mechanical pencils, highlighters, paper clips, a tiny tape measure, a tinier magnifier, phone charger, a small Sudoku puzzle book, and a pocket-sized book of the sayings of St. Teresa of Avila that she forgot where she got but was too superstitious to get rid of. As far as the kids were concerned, the most valuable item was an ordinary shoe-color brown leather coin purse with two tiny bronze ball snaps, the kind that kids can't resist snapping and unsnapping like prayer beads, acting out a primal right of object constancy that probably went back to when young monkeys started putting nuts under rocks and kept checking to see if they were still there. In the coin purse were 3 gold coins that Di's mother had given them as a wedding present. Somehow, they had never been handed over at the altar of one of Sid's business schemes gone bad, and, being worth their weight in gold, probably alone added about $2,000 to the value of the bag. After serious excavation, Sid found a small, worn matchbook from the time they went to the Museum of Bad Art in Boston. Then he went to the top of the basement stairs and called down, "I found some matches, let's go, kids." When they didn't immediately come pounding up the stairs, he walked a few steps down and saw Willie and Casper playing ping pong, while Polly swiveled his head back and forth and clicked his beaks in syncopation. "Grandpa, did you know a version of table tennis was invented by the French in the 13th century? Zoe said without looking up. "But it wasn't really called ping pong until the British manufacturer J. Jocks & Sons Limited trademarked it in 1901. "No, Casper, it's my point," Willie exclaimed. "But it bounced back to your side." "Sorry, dem's the rules, Cas." "Okay, you ping-pong," Sid interrupted. "Time to go down to the bonfire. Junior should have set it up by now. Zoe, can you find Maxfield too and bring him? Willie, call Biecha. Casper and I will put Polly in his carrier and bring him down with the cooler." As they started walking towards the water, Zoe asked, "Why do Biecha and Max have to come, Grandpa? They'll try to eat the hamburgers and hot dogs." "'Cause I'm giving a dharma talk on animal sacrifice, and I thought they'd find it interesting." Casper didn't really know what that meant. Zoe giggled despite herself, and Willie felt a little uncomfortable. Junior's bonfire was a thing of beauty, a mound of 2x2s above crumpled newsprint sitting on a crisscross of oak branches that had fallen in the first winter storm. "Brilliant, Junior," Sid said. "I finally found some matches." "Where?" Junior asked. "Grandma's bag," the kids said in unison. "Fire it up. Put Maxfield down, Zoe. He'll come over when he smells the meat." Sid set Polly's carrier a good distance from the fire, since his extensive research had told him parrots can get freaked out by fire. "Fire!" Polly screeched nervously. Sid handed each kid a bag of marshmallows and a stick. "The Buddha teaches that one should always eat the marshmallows first," Sid explained. I preferred rice pudding, the Buddha thought. After Junior's structure began to collapse into a pit of barbecue-ready coals, Sid announced, "Okay, time for the sacred incantation before the Dharma talk. Repeat after me." "Oh, God said to Abraham, kill me a son. Oh, God said to Abraham, kill me a son, the kids repeated. Abe said, man, you must be putting me on. God say, no. Abe said, what? God say, you can do what you want to, Abe, but next time you see me coming, you better run. Well, Abe said, where do you want this killing done? God said, out on Highway 61. Where's Highway 61? Casper asked, making it clear he hoped he never found himself anywhere near it. It's just an old song by Bob Dylan, Junior told him. Who's that? Casper asked. Sid sighed. He had a grandchild who never heard of Bob Dylan. It's just a jokey version of what happened in the Bible, Zoe explained. Then what really happened, Zoe? Casper asked, not sure if he wanted to know the answer. Well, after God told Abraham he had to prove his faith by sacrificing his son Isaac, they walked 3 days to get to the top of a mountain. Isaac asked where the lamb was they were going to sacrifice. Instead, Abraham tied him up. What? Casper said. Good point, buddy, Junior said. Nowadays, the kid would be in state's custody. So, Casper said, wide-eyed, then what happened? Junior cut Zoe off. You gotta understand, Casper. God figures if Abe was willing to kill this kid, he could get him to do anything. So he says, okay, untie your kid, find some poor goat to sacrifice instead. The whole thing seems crazy to me. Junior shook his head. God probably doesn't even like goat. He's just a control freak. Which brings us to our Dharma Talk question of the day, Sid said, trying to regain the upper ground. Yes, the Buddha thought, the question is always what you're willing to sacrifice. To whom? Why? How? Sid thought for a second. What are you willing to sacrifice, kids? To whom? Why? How? For the rest of our lives? Willie asked seriously, as he ran options through his head. Oh, I think a day would be fine, the Buddha thought. Even for 1 day, Sid said. Let's go oldest to youngest. You first, Casper. But Big Sid. Oh, just go with it, Casper, Jr. said. Okay, Minecraft. Zoe, Sid said immediately, like it was some kind of lightning round. Claude Pro, she said, as if it should be obvious. Who the hell is Claude? Sid asked. Oh, never mind. Willie? Discord Nitro. Is that something you get at Starbucks? Sid asked. The kids looked at him, shaking their heads. Okay, Junior. NBA League Pass as long as the Celtics aren't playing. That's cheating, Zoe argued. What, you don't use Claude every day? I sure do, she countered. Yeah, great. You just switched to chat. Well, maybe, Zoe admitted. It's all Greek to me, Sid said. Isn't there anything, like real you kids care about? You know, like a set of baseball cards or stuffed animals or a book? The kids looked at each other and rolled their eyes. Well, I'd like to finish this Dharma talk with an instruction. Visualize spending 1 day without whatever it is you said. Silence descended over the assembled multitude for at least 5 seconds, at which point Junior said, Willie, you better find us a goat. By then, Maxfield had settled between Casper, who was digging his fingers sensuously into the scruff of his neck, and Zoe, who was rubbing his belly. He could have died and gone to heaven, as could have Biecha, who was curled up contentedly at Sid's feet, waiting for the main course, not realizing it might be him. According to the Buddha, Sid said instructively, animal sacrifices take place at sunset. According to the Buddha, one shouldn't do animal sacrifices at all, the Buddha pointed out. It's 4:03, Sid said, looking at his iPhone. What time's sunset, Zoe? 4:10, Grandpa, Zoe said warily. She knew there was no way he'd actually sacrifice Maxfield to Biecha, but with Grandpa... Casper felt equally wary, and slowly took his hand away from Maxfield. In case he had to, well, he didn't know what he could do, but he would try to do something if Sid acted like he was going. Last time, this is for real, guys. Hit it, Junior. Sid started another round of Highway 61, accompanied hesitantly by Casper and Zoe, who were watching him fearfully, and Junior, who was half-heartedly blowing on a police whistle Sid had found in Di's bag and brought for the occasion. Maxfield buried his head deeper into Casper's digging fingers and tried to cover his one exposed ear with his paws. As they got to this killin' done, Sid reached down, grabbed Biecha, and walked closer to the fire. Junior laughed raucously with just a slight tinge of doubt, while the other kids screamed, No, Grandpa! Polly screeched, "Sid Buddha!" Sid laughed, and after waiting just a beat too long, said, "Fooled ya!" Didn't fool me, the Buddha thought, as Beatrice jumped out of Sid's hands and ran safely away. The kids broke into laughter, except for Willie, who just kept looking at Sid. 15 minutes later, they were all gathered around the fire pit, eating the hamburgers and hot dogs that Lord Buddha had suggested they barbecue instead of Beatrice. "Gee, Grandpa, aren't we kind of sacrificing animals when we eat hamburgers and hot dogs?" Zoe asked. "Let's hear it for the cows and pigs," Junior said as Zoe grimaced. "I think there was something about the threefold rule," the Buddha tried to remember. "My memory just isn't what it used to be. I'm not sure it was me who made the rule up anyway. Sounds like something my meat-eating disciples dreamed up." "Yeah, well, carrots and onions have feelings too," Willie said thoughtfully. "Now you're speaking my language," the Buddha thought. "Hey, Grandpa," Zoe said as she looked guiltily at her hot dog and reluctantly took another bite. "You didn't tell us what you'd sacrifice for a day." The kids noticed, if only subliminally, that Sid paused a few beats longer than usual, until he recovered enough to say with a weak laugh, "Fantasy football." Then Willie noticed Sid's typical maniacal smile soften. "Is that all?" the Buddha thought. Sid lowered his head just a little. What would he sacrifice? "I guess that would be myself," he whispered under his breath. "Although that would be forever, not just a day." "You okay, Grandpa?" Willie said. "Oh," the Buddha raised his voice so Sid could hear it in his head. "That doesn't take forever or a day. There's no time. You're here, you're not, you're here." As the Buddha said it, he realized that, all kidding aside, until then he had kept Sid at arm's length. He was used to expressing himself through kings, saints, warriors, and other people of earthly power. But this, an ordinary guy, in an ordinary place on earth, at an ordinary place in time. Just as Sid, in some way, still resists surrendering to me, the Buddha reflected, I resist surrendering completely to him. The thought made him smile. Thanks again for listening to The Man Who Woke Up the Buddha. We have 2 or 3 more holidays to go before the season is over. By the way, the Buddha's threefold rule was that monks may eat meat if they have not seen, heard, or suspected that the animal was killed specifically for them.